All right, to try and stop some of the water from coming back. It works. It handles some off-roading, which was actually kind of surprising. That's a bad sign if it smells. The last roll of paint. First time the chickens have seen grass, most of them anyway. So if you can see that, just beautiful.
I want to be done with this project.
Well, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Another frosty night last night. Let's go check and see how the plants did. Still frost all over the ground. Low was 34, and we were supposed to get up to 69 or 64, 60 something today. All right, they all made it, that's fine. We are going to plant some of the tea seeds today. So I needed my planting cups back. All right, so we started with some of our watermelons. I can show you, we're putting them into different pots, getting rid of some of the ones that aren't looking so hot, and getting the nice strong roots set up. These will just completely go into the ground like this, so there's no wilt, and they have a nice healthy mix of Pro Mix to invigorate those roots. So we're going to finish this up, then move to the other seeds. Okay, so I labeled these up with my thermal printer, and it got me thinking, hey, I could actually put more information on these tags because that gives me a lot more room with the thermal printer. I could probably wrap it around on the back and put like optimal pH and when it was planted, and I could put a lot more data on these tags with that smaller font. And because it's a thermal printer, it's not ink, it shouldn't fade in the sun, but I guess we'll have to try it. Okay, so it says just to barely bury these. We're just gonna pop them in there and put a light amount of soil over the top. We have a couple extra. Guess I should have counted those seeds. Supposed to get 10, got 12. So we do have a few of these that have opened up already. We soaked them in water, and their shells are opening, and they're ready to start putting down their first taproot. So that's very encouraging. We'll see what happens. All right, so one of the things we had to do here was split the worm buckets. And so I made a new bucket. I'm using pop rivets and putting up the screens on the outside with pop rivets. And then put in some, let's see it. Well, we put in some new leaf matter, and I'm splitting the bucket. The worms in the first bucket, this is the first time we've really seen the progress, and there are baby worms everywhere. I'm not sure you can see them, but this soil is packed with worms, and so they're growing nice. The amount of food we're feeding them seems to be good, and you know, and there's a lot of baby worms too. So we're not going to collect any yet. We're just going to keep growing our buckets, and then once we have, you know, thousands and thousands of worms, then we'll start, you know, harvesting them and putting them into our beds, and also put them into our soils that we're making. So this is really great worm castings, but I'm not going to sift them out. I'm going to leave some of this in here. I want to get a few more buckets with tons and tons of worms, then I'll start making the sifter and, you know, making it where we have lots and lots of worm casting. I fed some to the chickens and they loved them. And then they all fought for them because I didn't give enough for each one. Worm bucket version 1 had, I was using like a pure silicone to put the netting on, or the metal.
Cut.
So in version 1 of the worm buckets, I was using silicone to secure the screens. The screens are for, you know, so that flies and moths can't get in and lay their eggs in there. We will probably make some black soldier fly hotels, you know, for feeding the birds. But for this one, we wanted to keep them out, but the silicone doesn't stick to the plastic. So we went to pop rivets. That might work. I know the buckets are a little bit big for worms, but that's what we had. Feels nice to be able to be working outside again. After a few years, these tubs, Maddie was playing around and she jumped on one and just broke it all to smithereens. So yeah, case in point, I was just trying to drill through this and it just breaks. So, little wormy worm there. Go home. All right, to try and stop some of the water from coming back where the lapping is, we're putting in some J channel and securing it, hopefully getting all the water to come off that J channel, eventually going into the gutters that are going to be on this side. So hopefully that works. That should be a good fix. We'll see what happens in the next rain. Where the roof laps, where they're lapping over and then it's wicking up back under the metal.
Catch that. Wicking under there, it's going back behind the sheet.
Okay, so we had torrential downpours, and the Canoe planter that we have, I have drainage holes throughout and they're all plugged. So this son of a gun is like filled up with water and it's starting to stress out the plants. So I'm going to put some more holes in the side, which I didn't want to do, but we got to get this thing drained. And we had rock in the base, and I thought I had the drainage right, but nope. So you can see I had one right here. It's above the crappy water line, I guess, or clay dirt, I guess. It stinks too. That's a bad sign if it smells. If it went anaerobic, that will take out all of the roots of anything growing. It's just barely smelling that way, so maybe we saved it in time.
Up there.
Oh, look at that. Finishing the wall. The last roll of paint.
There's a fly in here now.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't close the door. How's it look?
My arm hurts.
Well, hello. We are back working out on the homestead this Saturday morning, and we are moving some chickens. We're going to get the chicken run started, planting some of our pot temporary tubs, I guess we'll call them. I wanted to show you something real quick. Look at this. So we made a chicken run with the raised bed. So First time the chickens have seen grass, most of them anyway. So they're hanging out in our temporary run while we move their coop and build the permanent run. So we're going to have a laying head tractor. And we're going to plant some lettuce. We got stuff ready to move all over the place here. So we planted the beans, we got the peas. And we're ready to throw the corn in and all this other stuff that will probably end up dying because of a last minute freeze in April, but hey, whatever. We'll just replant it again, I guess. That's what God wants us to do. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're using just a piece of scrap rebar and using it to make an axle on the back side of the two skids from the original coupe. And then we're making a bumper system so that way we have a way to hold the axle in place with a certain amount of wood, and then we can make adjustments. But then also the bumper to hold the back side of the axle on acts as a buffer in case we hit something and it doesn't wreck the wheel. We're up about 5 inches. I anticipate the ground will sink probably, you know, the few inches that we have off the ground from the weight, but it will be enough to get some rolling, you know, to put some rolling excess resistance-lessness. What? Something to get less resistance so we can move this a little bit easier when we pick the tractor up. Okay, so maybe it'll work. We'll release the pressure off of it. It holds up. And again, it's just barely above the ground on the concrete. On the grass, that'll sink. It'll still be flush. Assuming the axle doesn't just fall. I had the offset set, but if we have to redo this design, we have to redo it. But this is all the stuff we had just with junk laying around. So For the little bit of movement it makes, it should work fine. All right, it's finally done. We're gonna try to move it. First time with this 3-point hit. First time theoretically seeing if the tractor can actually lift it. And we'll see if the wheels work. A lot of variables to consider.
I think the door is gonna open.
You know, they would go a lot better if you didn't keep the parking brake on the whole time. See if chickens are still alive.
I would not be alive. You can hear
What a
it.
wild ride, huh? That was pretty wild, wasn't it? There was a lot of moving and shaking out there, huh?
The door is kind of cracked.
What? Which door?
Flap. In the corner there.
Are we, you want to just size up some tin?
Exactly.
That's exactly what you want to do?
Yep. I want to be done with this project.
Well, roof's the last part and it's
2
done.
days is too long.
I was hoping it was going to protect the wood, but... Okay, picked up our metal. It works. It works. It handles some off-roading, which was actually kind of surprising. I didn't think that just rebar was going to hold up to be enough of an axle to do that. But we can pretty much get it around this property with just those solid rubber tires. We'll put some hardware cloth on the base to protect from coons and that kind of thing. And yeah, should be, this is a pretty decent revamp of an old coupe, reusing what we could. If you like this content, please like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.